Hi, everybody. It's Julie Henricus and Alec Peche, and we are here for the April write-in for Sisters in Crime. Welcome to everybody who's here. We're both going to be maneuvering a few things on our screens and pasting some things in. I wanted to remind you of a couple of just tech issues that might be helpful. If you need audio, if you're having trouble with hearing us at all, you can click the Get Audio Video Help in the lower left-hand corner of your screen, or click the Help button at the top right-hand of your screen and click on Compatibility Mode in order to get some help with that. And I wanted to also let you know that we will be, Alec will be answering questions after the write-in. She is going to give us 5 things to consider if you're thinking about self-publishing. And so I've got my pen and paper and I'm ready to go. So the way this is going to work is Alec's going to give a talk, and then we're going to do a 25-minute write-in, and then we're going to answer some questions. So you're all, and I love that, and keep it up. But if you want to ask a question, in the lower part of your screen, there's an Ask a Question button, and we'll be happy to answer them afterwards. I also wanted to let you all know, or remind some of you, because I've seen some of you chatting about this, that Sisters in Crime is a proud sponsor of NaNoWriMo again this year. And we've expanded it, so we're not just doing the November event, we're also doing the Camp Nanos, which are in April and in July. So April is today. Time is very weird these days. And so what that means is there's going to be a write-in every Saturday for the month of April. There's some curated videos. We have a couple of a goal sheet and a tip sheet that you can download, and we're just here to support each other. It's a lot less stress because for the camps, you choose your own goal. And so I'm going to be running the write-in on Saturday, and that's what we're going to be talking about, is goal setting. So I hope to see you there. And so if you go to the events on the Sisters in Crime webpage, you can see Camp NaNoWriMo. So I really hope that I see you all there. Now, on to the main part of the event. Alec, what are 5 things that folks should think about if they're considering self-publishing? Because you've got how many books?
I'm up to 16, and then I also have 4 box sets.
Wow.
And I also have a novella that I use as a reader magnet, but it's with BookFunnel, not for sale anywhere, just trying to build a readership list.
Build your email list, which is a whole nother conversation, which if people are interested, we can do that in another write-in for sure. So what are 5 things that people should consider?
So self-publishing is a lot like running a small business. Not that being a traditional author isn't the same, but it's even more so. Number 1, think of your readers. Communicate with them. Ask yourself how they'll find your book, because that goes into metadata that you need to put together with your book, and track your reviews so you know what your readers are saying about your work, because maybe you can fix something that they don't like. Number 2, get your hands dirty. Try to do everything yourself. Don't, have a brain freeze because there's technology involved. Give it a try. There's all kinds of help out there, and do as much as you can. Get your hands dirty. 3, be frugal. You're running a small business. If I sell a book at $4.99, then I earn $3.45 in my royalty that I'll get paid 45 days later. And so you have to ask yourself, what am I doing? I'm spending money for this part of my author business. How many books do I have to sell to earn back the expense of that? So be frugal to be successful. Have deadlines and goals, either words per day, words per week, or finish a book by X date. I signed up for NaNoWriMo for the first time this past November. And then I further boxed myself into a corner by having an upload date or a pre-order date with Amazon. And if you fail to make that date, you go to the sin bin for a year and can't use the pre-order. So, and I had to have that book finished by midnight at the end of 2020, and I made it with 18 minutes to spare on New Year's Eve. So pressure works. So have deadlines and goals. And then finally, find your community. It is a really lonely business being an author, and even more so being an indie author, because you're not talking to an agent or a publisher or the team that's with a publisher. You are on your own, and there are many communities out there. If anybody wants any information on any of those 5 tips, put them in the question box and I'll ask or answer them later. Or you can find me at chapters@sistersincrime.org or at author@alecpeche.com.
Yeah, I neglected to mention that Alec is the chapter liaison. So any of you who are chapter presidents or in chapter leadership, she is an amazing force for good on the Sync National Board. Thank you for these tips. I'm going to actually ask you to write them up, and we'll put them in with the replay of this because they're really, really helpful. I also, the community, because I have 2 of my books that I've got the rights back and I'm working in self-publishing. The Creative Pen, PENN, is an amazing resource. She has a website and she also has a podcast that and I found really helpful. I'll put that in the chat. And also there's a Facebook group, Wide for the Win, which
Yes.
I joined, which seems to be having a lot of information as well. But did you find, it's overwhelming how much information there is. I keep getting paralyzed.
It's a fire hose out there. So my 2 websites that I follow religiously on Facebook are the Self-Publishing Formula, which is Mark Dawson's program out of the UK. He's got a couple different Facebook groups, like he's got a mastery group for people who've enrolled in his Ads for Authors course, a regular group. And then actually one of my favorites is 20 Books to 50K. They have an annual convention. This year it's, every year it's in Las Vegas in November. You can still sign up for it. And they have a mix of marketing and genre help. Like they'll have cops talking about, mystery books and mystery authors talking about that. They have someone who helps you with blurbs and cover art. So the 2 websites really don't intersect too much. People tend to post their earnings on 20 Books to 50K and talk about how they got there. And on the Mark Dawson site, sometimes they'll post a blurb and ask for feedback from, the community, or a cover ask for feedback. So a lot of the people belong to both groups, and I think the one is 40,000 strong worldwide. Wow. So those are my favorite.
That's great. No, it's great. These are great resources because there's a lot of people who are on a lot of different paths. So this is fabulous. So again, we will get those 5 tips, and we'll also, she and I will crowdsource our websites and groups for you as well. So now we're getting to the work portion of the day. So I hope you all have a project to work on, either writing or, I'm doing proof pages or editing or whatever you're going to be doing. The goal of this is time together, because it actually is easier, I think, and the energy of a community matters. And so we've been doing these this year, and it's a lot of fun, and it's a good event to sort of get reinvigorated for the month of April. So I'm going to set the timer for 25 minutes. Alec and I are going to shut off our microphones and our cameras, but you will still we'll still be here. We'll come back afterwards. And if you have a question, please put it in the question box and we will answer it there. All right, so here we go. I am setting the timer right now. Go. Hello, friends. We're back. That's been 25 minutes. It goes quickly. If you want to check in on the chat on how you did, we'd love to hear. How'd you do, Alec?
295 words.
That's great. That's great.
I'm starting a new series, and I'm a pantser, so I'm just struggling with getting it going. I can see about one sentence in front of me.
New series are always tricky because it is world building. I mean, it's the whole thing. So, that's great. 995 words, Linda. Woo. Wow. 730. Oh, starting new stories writing by hand. I do that sometimes. Chris is rewriting 280. That's great. 500. You look at all this. I'm so impressed. Wow. I mean, I'm reading proof pages, so I only got 30 pages read, but that's we're going to get through this, and then on Saturday I'll have something else to work with. So present the tense stuff when you're editing is so tricky. I love reading the comments. So Alec, before we say goodbye to everybody, let's look at the questions, and I will read them, and please weigh in, and I'll also weigh in if I have anything to share. I am preparing to self-publish my first and second books in October. How do I start creating a reader group audience to communicate with? For example, I plan to create a Facebook page and newsletter, but how do I find an audience before I publish?
So what I would do is, and I don't know if you're going to publish wide or narrow. Narrow is just Amazon, and wide would also mean Kobo, Apple, Google Books. But with Amazon, you can pre-order up to a year in advance. So if you know you're going to publish in October, and you already have the cover art, I would start by putting, even though the book isn't finished, put your cover art and put the book on pre-order. And that gives you something really solid to communicate with a reader group, and to build conversations around on the characters. I find it hard, and also I should add that if you do that, you can set up an author page on Amazon and one on Goodreads, and those are two platforms for finding more readers also. So that would be what I would start. Julie, you want to?
No, I think that these are all great, and it's also, start showing. Don't always sell, but start being very present in other groups online. Like join them now on Facebook groups, or comment on blogs, things like that, so people will get to know you a little bit before you start talking. And when Alec talked about the lead magnet on her email lists are the best way to go because you own the list. So, working on something that gets people to sign up so that they get about it is, I think, also a great way. It takes time, but you're going to build audiences over time. And so, we'll keep talking about this, and marketing is a conversation we're going to be talking about a lot at Sisters in Crime. So sorry, I have a cat who wants to be part of this conversation. Could you please talk about how many books people write per year? How many words? Bewildered by authors who seem to finish millions of books every year.
So last year was a banner year for me, mostly thanks to Sisters in Crime and write-ins. My chapter, or one of my chapters, Sisters in Crime NorCal, has write-ins Monday through Friday at 1 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and 10 o'clock Pacific time. And that helped me be much more productive. I think I was probably like everybody else in March of last year watching the car crash of COVID take over the news. But that really got me back on track. So I wrote 4 books last year. My average length or average number of words is 68 to 76 for mystery, and I'm just straight mystery, not cozy, not noir, not historical, just mystery. So, but I know what you're talking about. I was reading somewhere today, some guy wrote a book in 15 days. I can't do that.
No. I mean, we write at our own pace, and
Right.
if it depends, deadlines help a lot. So that pre-selling on Amazon is a hard deadline, and that can get you going. I have contractual deadlines that definitely help. And we have friends, I don't know if Edith Maxwell's on here. She's writes, I think, 3 or 4 books a year. I'm lucky if I can do 2, but and we all write at our different paces. So don't compare yourself to others. But I think that when people are writing series, and you're sort of in a groove, readers want them faster. So we just try and do that. Next question: could you please talk about how many books? Oh no, sorry, that's one. What's the best part of being an indie author?
So I would actually say I'm a control freak, and I love being in charge of everything. I like picking my title. I like picking my cover art. My editor, I can hire and fire people at will to get the best product available. And I also like the fact that I can make changes. It's not, someone hasn't done a print run of 1,000 books that have a typo in them, or suddenly I've decided I don't like the cover. The barrier to change, the cost of it is pretty low. So I've changed a couple of my book covers 2 or 3 times because I've decided, I've wondered what I was thinking when I liked it the first time, or as I've added more books, I just, right now I'm uploading new book covers for all 16 books because I've changed the branding a little bit. But I just love being in charge of all of that.
I got books back, and I got 2 cover rights to books back when Midnight Ink went out of business. So I got 2 covers, but separately, and now they're on Amazon. But I'm getting new covers for a series so that it feels a little bit better. It's all of this is so important, and I think you do, as you said, and this is such a great piece of advice. You are a small business when you're doing this because you're in charge of the whole thing. But when you're traditionally published, you're in charge of more than you thought you were going to be in charge of. But it's a lot of responsibility, but it's also a lot of freedom.
Yep.
The last question was, how do I sign up for the Saturday write-in? So I put the link to Sync Camp Nano in the chat. And so you just click on that, and you can you will get a link to the resource page for Sync Camp Nano, and it will have the write-in code right there. I'll probably send out another email on Saturday just to remind people. And it will be the same link theoretically for all 4 write-ins. We're using Crowdcast as we're doing here for them. And as I said, we'll talk about goal setting, but we'll also have time to work on our projects on Saturday. So there's that. So thank everybody for being here, and especially thank Alec for joining and for this great advice. We will get you some of the specifics that we talked about in the replay page. I will also put those specifics on there. And I want to thank everybody for being here and for being members of Sisters in Crime. Thank you so much. Night, everybody. Bye.